Hello friends, welcome. I hope you're having an amazing day so far. In this video, I am going to talk to you all about the importance of water in baking. Believe it or not, water plays a significant role when it comes to baking. Even if water is not an ingredient added to a recipe, many ingredients are sources of water, even those you wouldn't necessarily expect to be. Now let's take some examples. Whole milk is 88% water, eggs 75% water, sour cream 71% water, even butter is 18% water. Of course, if your recipe contains, say, fruits, vegetables like carrot cake, they also contain high percentages of water and many other, perhaps less significant ingredients. Water dissolves or hydrates many important molecules and particles that make up other ingredients. If they are not dissolved or hydrated, they will not be able to carry out their specific role in the recipe. Remember that baking is a chemical reaction. Now let's talk about some common ingredients used in baking that require water. Sugar. Sugar crystals have to dissolve in order to moisten and tenderize cakes, to stabilize whipped egg whites, for example, in a meringue, and even to taste sweet. The reason for this is because sugar molecules surround water molecules, which helps them to bind to taste receptors on the tongue. Salt, if undissolved, is unable to slow yeast fermentation in bread baking or to preserve foods. Baking powder needs to be dissolved in order to produce carbon dioxide gas for leavening in baked goods. This is why it is particularly important when it comes to cake making to get your cake in your preheated oven as soon as all the ingredients are mixed together, because the raising agents are going to start reacting and they need the heat from the oven for the next stage of the process. Moving on to proteins and starches. These are larger molecules which don't dissolve in water, however they do hydrate in it. The water molecules form a shell around the hydrated proteins and starches, causing them to swell and be suspended in the mixture. Raw flour doesn't actually contain any gluten. It has two proteins called glutenin and gliadin. These have to hydrate in order for them to transform into gluten. I believe I may have talked about this in another video. Gluten is a flexible network of proteins which is important for giving structure and volume to baked goods, particularly in the case of bread, but also in pastries and cakes, for example. Mixing helps develop gluten, however, if water weren't present, it wouldn't even develop in the first place. Water activates yeast and allows fermentation to occur. Without it, yeast cells would remain dormant and die, which makes a lot of sense because yeast is a living thing and all living things require water. Just think of the number of chemical reactions going on within your body right now that require water. It's really quite amazing. Water is also a convenient way of adjusting the temperature of batters and doughs. If we use cold water when making pastry dough, this helps prevent the fats from melting, giving rise to a flakier pastry. It is also very important to control the water temperature in bread making so that the dough is the ideal temperature for fermentation. Water, of course, affects the consistency of batters and doughs, i.e. how fluid they are. In fact, generally, we would define a batter as being high in moisture and so thin and pourable, such as muffins, cakes, pancakes, and a dough is low in moisture and hence thick and moldable, such as bread, biscuit, pastry doughs. The consistency of batters and doughs is important for both the shape and rise of baked goods. Fats, on the other hand, do not dissolve or hydrate in water. They break into small droplets, spreading throughout mixtures and coating anything that they are attracted to. This is what makes them so effective at tenderizing, as anything that is coated in fat cannot easily absorb water. Structure builders such as proteins and starches, when coated in fat, are slow to hydrate and hence give structure. Baking is very much a balance of different ingredients and ratios of ingredients. In cakes, we want to develop enough gluten to give our product volume and structure so that it holds up after baking. But we also want to balance that with moisteners and tenderizers so that it's lovely and soft and has that nice, pleasant mouthfeel. It is really quite a magical mix of reactions. And that brings us to the end of this video. Hopefully you've now gained a little further understanding as to why water is so important when it comes to baking. If you have any questions or thoughts, please do pop them in the comments below and I will happily answer them if I can. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye!